Blind test. I've had a few suggestions to try Czech beer, and I've been kind of curious myself to compare the beers I drink now and then. So why not do a blind test, or blind test, because I won't wear a blindfold this time. But the beers will be poured by my son, so I don't know which beer is in which glass. And even though I know which beers will be in the test, I bought these myself, I don't really know how they look compared to each other, and not really how they taste either. Of course, I have my favorites and my least favorites, at least in my mind. But when you drink a lot of beers at the same time like this, and especially in a blind test, you can get surprised. My favorite is Pilsner Urquell. I think it's fantastic that we have a mass-produced beer to a cheap price that tastes this good. So hopefully this will be the winner in the blind test. I also like Bernard, and I think these two are the favorites. Budvar as well, but it's kind of lighter, more subdued, lower bitterness, but no strange off flavors. So the goal is to rank them from tastiest to most disgusting, and also identify as many as possible, but it might just be maybe 2 or 3. We'll see. All right, look at this. I'm so hungry. This will be delicious, hopefully. So the first thing that hits me is how dark they are. I haven't really reflected on the difference between, for instance, Czech Pilsners and German Pilses. It looks like number 1 is maybe the palest. Also number 3 and number 9 is a little bit paler as well. But no time to waste. Let's start sniffing number 1. Smells good. Smells syrupy, as I guess all of these beers are. Syrupy, kind of sugary, but still with a dry finish. It's almost like a butterscotchy aroma, and with a little bit of citrus zesty qualities hiding behind. I get kind of a biscuity vibe with this one, and it might be because I'm hungry, but it smells pretty inviting. Let's see how it tastes though. Na zdraví, cheers, skål. That is pretty nice. My first sip of beer, as I said, and my taste buds are really longing for something, because I haven't eaten or drinking anything for a long time, as usual in my videos, except for water. I get some bitterness in the finish now, so it's not just sweet, it has some edge as well. I think I like it. It has some flowery honey notes in there. It feels kind of more authentic than I was afraid of. Sometimes the first gulp is heavenly, and then after a while you notice all the off flavors. But I don't think this is one of the beers I haven't liked. Yeah, but it is pretty kind of smooth and syrupy, biscuity. It has a little bit more grainy malt base as well, kind of like rye bread. And then it dries out, and in comes the bitterness, kind of a medium bitterness, I would say. I think this was the perfect starting off beer in this company. and I think it will rank pretty high, maybe in the top 3. And if I'm forced to guess, I would guess Bernard, but I'm not at all sure about that. Okay, beer number 2. Is it even more syrupy? Maybe just a tad more. And then it has kind of an interesting herbal note I didn't feel as much of in the first beer. It's like, it's not really spicy, I guess, but the kind of herbs that tickle your nose a little bit. But then again, pretty syrupy, biscuity, and it's harder to find the zesty qualities from the hops, I think, in these kinds of beers compared to more clean and light pills. I think this smells good as well. Let's dig in. Na zdraví, cheers, skål. First impression, almost identical. Maybe the bitterness is a tad lower than the previous one, but also from what I noticed in the aroma, this is more herbal, which I always like. I do miss a little bit, fruitiness and zestiness, and which my favorite beer has, which I hope I will identify. But this one is pretty good as well. This will probably be in the middle of the bunch somewhere. But again, no strange off flavors. Pretty nice. I suddenly remembered it could be good to have some fluffy white bread in between, just to neutralize the taste buds a little bit more. I'm drinking water, but it might not be enough to have a clean slate again. So, yeah. Then number 3. I sniffed too hard, but actually that really made something happen in the nose. Very herbal and floral honey-like. Pretty nice actually, but I won't do that again. It smells less syrupy this time. It's like you get more of a regular malt base, not just syrup and cookies. But you can definitely sense this is the same style. And again, not a lot of the fruity zesty qualities. Smells good as well, just not as typically Czech pilsich. But let's taste it. Na zdraví. Na zdraví. Na zdraví. Cheers. Skål. Man, this is going to be much harder than I thought. They are pretty similar, at least these 3 first. But this time, I think we have more fruitiness, more zestiness, and less of the syrupy notes. Maybe slightly higher bitterness as well. I like it. I don't want to say too much right now because I'm not 100% sure. But this could actually be the Pilsner Urquell. I will know for sure, or pretty for sure, when I've tried all the beers. But that would be my first guess. It's so much harder though when you have other Czech pils surrounding it. So you have a syrupy start, and then the fruits and the zest breaks through a bit in a very nice way. And then it dries out in a herbal bitterness. Well, I'm getting more and more sure of that this actually is the Urquell, because I also get that kind of butter on freshly made white bread, kind of malt base. Also, the bitterness in the finish is very nice. It's pretty high, but in a pleasant way, you know. Sometimes you get this more tannic black tea kind of bitterness that lingers on the border to being unpleasant. But this is softer, and together with the herbs, it's really nice. So I guess this might be the winner, but we have only tried 3 so far. So we'll see. Number 4. It smells like syrup and biscuits. But now when I go back to the previous 3, they also have other interesting aromas. This is much more plain somehow. I guess it's the most meh aroma so far, but let's see how it tastes. Na zdraví, cheers, skål. Okay. The first impression of the flavors were pleasant surprise. It didn't smell as much for the world, but the taste was better. It also has some zesty qualities. Lower bitterness, maybe the lowest so far. This is also okay. I don't hate it. It just lacks a little bit of personality. If I really try hard, I find some of the flowery honey notes, but I think I like the finish, the aftertaste, the least so far. It's a bit more, like I said, black tea kind of bitterness compared to the previous one, which I don't appreciate as much. And the sugar is lingering as well, even though it's dry. It always creates a conflict in my head, but maybe like burnt sugar or something. Yeah, I don't appreciate this finish as much. This will be in the end, maybe not the last one, but maybe 7 or 8 of 9. Actually, hold your horses. I took a few sips more. It kind of grows on me, actually. Did I say the bitterness was low? It's compounding. Now the bitterness feels higher, but in that tannic way, you know. This could actually be Březňák. It has some attitude, at least. I'll give it that. All right, halfway. Let's sniff number 5. Again, like with the previous, number 4, the aroma is more, how do you say that in English? Bland, apparently. I think we have a more sophisticated word in Swedish. But yeah, the aroma doesn't tell us much. Not as syrupy, not as zesty, not as herbal. What has it even? But maybe the flavors are a surprise. So, na zdraví, cheers, skål. It's very sugary. It has some niceness as well when you let it cling out and really experience the long aftertaste. Also a round feeling, almost butterscotchy. The finish, the aftertaste, the bitterness is actually pretty nice. Not in that black tea kind of way anymore, but more soft and herbal. This beer also grew on me a bit. Now I start to get more almost fruit juice, kind of orange meat and zest as well. Wow. Never trust the first gulp, right? This gets better and better. It might be one of these crushable beers that you can have 4 in a row. Suddenly this rose up to the top. This will be in the top 3, I think. It has the roundness, kind of a little bit of butterscotch almost. Digestive biscuits, kind of, and then more of a soft white bread malt base as well. Not as much harsh grains, but the bitterness is pretty high, but in that nice soft herbal way. It's hard to explain, but not the black tea kind of bitterness. I think this must be number 2, if I guessed correctly on Pilsner Urquell, which probably will be number 1. This might be number 2. We'll see. Number 6. Don't do that, Swedish beer guy. But the flavors or the smell you get in the nose when you accidentally get beer into your nostrils, it's pretty nice. It's so herbal and reminds me a little bit of whiskey. If you've ever smelled whiskey, you can take whiskey on your hand, warm it a little bit and smell it. It has a bit of the same qualities, but I'll try not to do that. I was about to say we are back to the really syrupy, biscuity notes again. It almost has, and many of the beers here on the table has kind of an British feeling to it with the syrupy, biscuity notes. It's herbal, maybe a bit zesty. It's pungent. I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of the stronger beers. But aromas can be deceiving, so let's see what it tastes like. Na zdraví, cheers, skål. It might have a more boozy punch. I'm not sure though. The aftertaste is more tannic again, but not in a bad way actually. It has a big full body, butterscotch, biscuits, and then it's pretty nice with a more black tea kind of bitterness that it cuts through all that sweetness, but it also has a bit of that softer herbal bitterness. Kind of the best of 2 worlds. I'm surprised I like these beers as much as I do. I thought I would make more of those kinds of faces, I've been really pleasantly surprised so far. Is this kind of the archetype of a Czech Pilsner? It actually has some zesty qualities as well, and a little bit of floral honey. I might be out on deep water here, but this feels like kind of the typical Czech Pilsner. Yeah, very digestive, biscuity as well. I'm not sure it will end up in the top 3 though. Maybe, or just below. That might be because I historically prefer more herbal bitterness than black tea bitterness, if I have explained that well enough, and also more zesty qualities. Those are pretty low. It's dominated by the cookie doughy, biscuity, syrupy notes. But yeah, I like it. Time to sniff number 7. I need to stop doing that. Oh, it's nice though. You kind of get that spring flower feeling. Is it from a bush? It's some kind of flower in the spring that has this, it's floral and herbal at the same time. Maybe these glasses aren't the best for me. And it might be that the glasses are filled too high. Those were my instructions, by the way, so my son didn't do anything wrong. But it's also harder to smell anything. All the other glasses with less beer have more interesting characters than the ones that are filled higher up, it seems. So maybe this one also will reveal some notes after a while, but right now it's, as I said about the previous beer, I think, kind of bland. So let's taste it instead. Na zdraví, cheers, skål. Tannic, black tea, kind of bitterness, and maybe not enough sweetness and zestiness to justify it. It also has more of the kind of sugar or burnt sugar than the round syrupy notes. It's just a bit more artificial, maybe. But again, after 10 seconds, the lingering aftertaste isn't all that bad. I do find a little bit of citrus fruitiness and zestiness, but you really have to look for it. Yeah, this might be my least favorite so far, if I remember correctly, but none of the beers have been a catastrophe so far. Number 8. There you actually get more flavors right off the bat, even though it's filled this much. Ooh, it feels boozy, I think. Like it's added spirits in here. Yeah, I've smelled them through now, all the 7 previous, and I think it makes a big difference when you get this low in the glass. Or I don't know what the difference is. It must be that, right? But yeah, I can't smell much at all compared to the others. So let's taste it instead. Na zdraví, cheers, skål. All right, it's beer number 8, so maybe a bit unfair, but what is unique about this beer? It has a pretty nice malt base. I haven't noticed the malt base this early before. It's fresh bread, white bread, a hint of more grainy rye bread as well. And actually the syrupy, butterscotchy, biscuity notes are not as high, I think, as the other ones. It has a pretty nice herbal finish, medium bitterness. I like the malt base, but everything else around is yeah, not my favorite. This might be number 8, actually, of 9 in this company. All right, last one, number 9. And there is one beer I thought I would recognize, and that is Żubr, a beer that has added sugar. And I thought I noticed that when I tried it a while back, and I really didn't like it. But none of the beers so far has been that bad as my memory of the experience. So let's see if we will end on a low note, if this actually is Żubr. Actually a pretty nice aroma, not at all as bland as some of the other has been with this amount of beer in the glass. Herbal, a bit flowery, almost woody. Yeah, woody or nutty is how I would describe it. Very strange. I'm so intrigued now. Will this be the driest? But there also is a bit of syrupy notes, and I can't really find the fruits though. More floral, herbal, woody or nutty. This is exciting. Let's taste it. Na zdraví. Yes, confirmed. Na zdraví. Cheers. Skål. Oh. That is different. That is very different. You get the nuts, the woody quality in the flavors as well. And I have no idea which beer this is. And maybe I shouldn't get too excited. You know, after 8 beers, you get something different and you praise it too much. What's different is you don't get that syrupy sweet start. It kind of goes into that woodiness straight away. So overall it feels like a more dry beer. I guess it has portion of the beer brewed with more harshly roasted barley. It kind of feels like a mix between styles, and I'm here for it. But I can't remember tasting this before, but I have tried all the beers several times. This is, of course, the beauty of comparing beers side by side, and especially if you're blind tasting them. So I guess if you were supposed to rate the accuracy of the style, this is a little bit outside, because the drier woodiness comes so early in the taste journey. It doesn't really feel as Czech as the other ones, but for me right now, it's very nice with a bit of variation, but I will try not to get too excited about it, because I'm not sure the beer really is that good. Or is it? Okay, this is hard, because I do like it, but if I had this blindly, which if someone served me this without me knowing what it is, it's almost closer to Schwarzbier, a German style, a dry Pilsner with some added malts that gives that nutty quality. It has only hints of more syrupy biscuity notes, at least compared to the rest here on the table. If I compare this to an actual Schwarzbier, for instance, this might appear to be more sweet. Now that all the glasses are half full or less, I will go through the aromas one more time, because at this stage they are pretty different. So number 1, sweet, syrupy, zesty, fruit juicy. Number 2 is more burnt or roasted sugar-ish. Also this round butterscotchy, syrupy note. Number 3 is more almost like this sweet spirity way, like a liqueur of some sort. But also syrupy and wild strawberries. Was this the Pilsner Urquell? I can't remember, but if it is, it fits. Number 4, more bland, toned down, but also biscuity. Number 5, syrup mixed with more spirits, so it smells more boozy somehow, but also something intriguingly herbal. Number 6, extremely syrupy, biscuity, like you suspect it has higher alcohol as well. Very soft and round. Again, syrupy, round, more toned down than number 6. Also, I get some chocolate notes actually. Kind of a mix of milk chocolate and dark chocolate. Number 8, not as syrupy. It's herbal. Feels drier somehow. And then number 9, we have that woody character that really sticks out. Not as syrupy, a little bit herbal. Now I will taste them through as well. So I started to go through all the beers again, but at this point the beer testing was going a bit out of hand. Hello, this is a Swedish beer guy from the future. I'm editing the video right now, and the last part is kind of confused. I think I've had too much beer to drink and kind of lost my, should we say, sensitivity in the taste buds. I was able to pick a top 3, but it was very chaotic and I can't really stand by that top 3. I chose Staropramen as my 3rd place, and I think it was mostly because it was such a contrast to all the other beers. I don't know if I would really enjoy it on its own. I don't think I have in the past. Then I picked Pilsner Urquell, my previous favorite, as number 2 for some reason. And then I completely randomly, it seems, chose Krušovice as my top 1. The beer I liked the least in the first tasting. The funny thing is that I forgot which beer I have picked for number 1, so I kind of tasted its neighbor as well, Baron Trenck, and I thought, well, there it is, that's the winner. So obviously my judgment was walking out the door. But I think it's pretty typical. If you really want to enjoy a beer, or at least if you want to analyze it, have the full experience with fresh taste buds, you drink that beer as your first beer, or maybe second beer. Then, by the time you get to your 4th or 5th beer, it's not as important anymore which beer it is. So I hope it's okay for you that I just narrate this last part, because it was so chaotic and I said strange things and, I like the first part. Watch the first part. At least there it seems like I know what I'm talking about. And now back to Swedish Beer Guy for some last words. To me, it's always a bit chaotic to make a blind test like this, especially when there are a lot of beers. Which Czech beer is your favorite? Which beer do I need to include next time? More blind tests you can find here. Thank you for watching, and remember, drink responsibly!